Our guest is not going to be here today, so I am the speaker today. We're going to do live coaching. We'll get Paul back on the calendar. I met him at a mastermind in Puerto Rico to find out that he's like a major player in the commercial real estate space. And he loves teaching residential agents how to add commercial to their business. Okay, finding someone who could help take the workload off us and execute reliably. So I'm going to start with that one first. And have you guys read this book? Let me see if I can find it. Not that I want to be the only source of information for you guys. He spoke at one of our summits, Dan Martell, Buy Back Your Time. So it fits right in with everything I've ever taught about. It gives a very deliberate way to buy back your time, and like who your first hire is, what you should off your plate before you hire your first person. So I recommend everyone go through that book. Here's the downside of an assistant. And I'll use Cody's not on this call, but I'll use Cody as an example. So she came to Real Estate B School, total traditional agent, solo agent, and she wanted to grow. Did about 250,000 GCI when she started with us. She's consistently done over 2 million GCI. And couldn't be more different, her business. She's still in production. She does mostly listings, but she went through 7 years where she went through 7 assistants. And some of you would say, like, that sounds awful. That sounds like I wouldn't ever do it. Like, what's the point? My first assistant stayed with me for 7 years. So I think God just took favor on me with that main hire. She was licensed. She was willing to work all the weird hours. She would do signs, show homes, go to closings. She did everything for me. And Cody was more committed to getting to building a business, that it didn't matter how many assistants she had along the way. And she shared this with me. She said it was pretty painful. There were many times where she's like, F it, this whole building a team thing or buying back your time is not worth it, because now I have to deal with another person. And it was so much easier when it was just me. It's like, oh, was it so much easier? But you just forget how awful that was, because you will hit a cap in your income if you don't get leverage through someone else. And so you have to be committed, and I know you are, Paul, but you have to be committed to growth and buying back your time. And everyone needs to have a goal of bringing on an assistant. And whether that's a local licensed admin, we have members bringing on, we've got a pretty good relationship with a company called Riva Global for virtual assistants. They're still straight up full team members, but they come like 50% trained. And they typically come from a real estate background. So that sometimes requires you have like an admin that's going to manage that virtual assistant, so you're not have to manage them yourself. So if you're committed to growth, you 100% are going to need someone to do the 80% of tasks that are administrative in nature. So Paul, can you unmute yourself? I know you're eating, but what was the big thing with the 3 that didn't work out? Just like they were just sucky people, or they had no good experience, or total mishires on your part?
I would say mishires. People that we hoped could adapt and do the job. We had one that just was a photographer wanting to change of pace. Was very good. It was nice to have a professional photographer for closings and things like that, but just very quickly sent us an email and said, "Hey, I'm going back into photography." We just hired somebody a week and a half ago, and their first day, a lot of excuses, flat tire, things like that. And then the next day, my grandma's sick, I'm going north, and so a bad hiring on our part as far as vetting the people. And I think that we're in a situation where we need an assistant so urgently, with 3 little kids, to be able to set my wife, who is our ops manager, free, that we're not putting, it's not like, hey, let's take 2 months to figure this out. It's like, hey, this person's pretty good. Let's see if they can like actually grow into this role. The other thing is, I think that we've probably done a couple interviews, explain too much, because it's like there's a lot that goes into this. It's like completely random. You could be picking up a sign, or you could be shaking hands and kissing babies at an event and helping us make sure that we track everybody. And we've explained all of that. Maybe it's overwhelmed some people.
Yeah, so you revealed a few really good things there. It shouldn't be like completely random. Like the person that's going to fill this role wants more of an orderly. Granted, you need to find somebody that's willing to hang in a disorderly environment, but they can come in and create some order, but it can't be like, yeah, you're just going to be, every day is going to be different. It's going to be a complete crap show. You got to keep up with us. One day you'll be doing this. Who knows what the next day will look like? They're thinking like, I'm not going to have a job in a week. This guy's crazy. So that's one thing. It should be all written down and just group it into categories. Say, hey, listen, this is a key hire for us. We're probably going to grow beyond this, but you're basically going to do marketing coordination, listing coordination, closing coordination, and there may be times where I'll need you to run some stuff around town. This is the market to find a licensed agent that is not producing, and they're a better administrator. And just ask exactly what you're looking for. Ask every agent you know, every broker owner you know, if they know someone who's licensed that maybe was an administrator in a previous life. That's one thing. And Annalise, I know you're getting ready, or Sasha, for me to say this. If you can drop the minute 5 video from Stephen Furtick about relationship advice, key in the, the conversation about potential versus patterns. So for you to hire someone that, let's say this person that just fled up north, and if you really looked at their life up until the moment they met you, are they a person that has exhibited whatever's important to you? They've had stability in some sort of administrative role, whatever those things are, right? You wrote down those things, and then you're looking at the things you wrote down against the person that you're talking to. So this photographer is going to be a great administrator. A photographer that likes to be out and about and taking pictures and being all creative and whatever I can stereotype about a photographer, they're going to be perfect as an administrator. Like you're just trying to you're just hoping that they work out. There's no pattern of them being an administrator in anything, so you're looking for someone who has sat in a company somewhere, maybe another small business, and they were used to having a founder that's a little bit crazy, throwing things at them. And, at least find a person like that, or find someone who's licensed and give them a Colby assessment or a DISC assessment, and they just might be a better administrator. So you could limit the things that, help yourself out by not hiring someone that does not have a pattern of what you're looking for.
That's great advice. Thank you, Lars. And Julia's here too, listening to all of this. So this is really valuable.
Yeah, and I did it a gazillion times back in the day, but I did it with agents. And so I would say, oh, this person's going to be great. I see all the potential, right? And then they sucked. And then I went back and I said, listen, if I would have slowed down the interview process and I were to really, and it's not to say someone can't change, but you can't have this 50-50 chance of them actually changing. You can't afford to make another mishire. You need to at least have someone that's going to get you, like to Cody's example, they're going to stay a year and they're going to bring you up a notch. And then maybe they move and they give you notice and they can hire their replacement and hand off all the systems. And then that person takes you up a notch, but you're never falling back to the same spot that you're in. All right. And then reclaiming time, some of it's just letting go also. Crystal, anything to add to the conversation?
Yeah, one thing I would add to the conversation is, Paul, been there. I feel you. I've interviewed, hired, fired probably more than 20 people over the last 3 years. So it's part of the game, right? But you just got to be, quick, slow to hire, quick to fire. As long as you do that, you'll be just fine. But I'm at the place where now, Lars, my challenge is, in terms of reclaiming my time, is that realizing that I'm not in a position, because we have so many things happening in our lives and our businesses, that I can't even spend the time to sit down and concentrate on hiring people. So what I did do is I went and I hired a headhunter, right? And I have a headhunter who has amazing experience in hiring people who are basically an executive ops manager, because I need someone who can kind of manage our business portfolio as a whole, not just our real estate business. And that's where I realized that in order for me to reclaim my time, I got to exit myself out of that part of the hiring process, because I know that I won't let it go. I'm really intense during that part of the process. So she's actually got started, and she's already got me the best out of, 20 candidates that she's reviewed. She's given me the best 2 that I'll be involved with. And I think that was a big help in helping me reclaim my time. And hopefully I can hire someone now that can kind of really take a lot of that weight off of my shoulders with our businesses.
Yeah. Awesome. Everyone comes in and lead gen is the issue. And the whole industry revolves around lead gen is paying for leads, or, basically letting someone else do, produce a lead for you. That is not lead generation. And I'm not much of a cold caller, so that was not a life-giving sort of focus for me, so I wasn't outbound dialing expireds, or I did some for sale by owners because those conversations were way more friendly and I could be a resource to them. But when you think about lead generation, you shouldn't be thinking, like, if you haven't spent the time to actually put your database together and go watch that Jessica Wade training and tell me that you couldn't do that. If you watch that training and you tell me you couldn't put a list of 250 people together, even if it took you a year or two to put the list together, and you couldn't have coffee, eat lunch, or invite them to a free community event, if you watch that training and you tell me you can't do that, then you need to get the F out of being in business for yourself. I'm not saying you need to go do it. I'm just saying, if you watch that and you tell me you can't do it, then you need to get away from owning your own business, because there's nobody. I wouldn't love doing it, because that's not like, I don't get energy from, like leaving my house and having lunch with somebody. It doesn't light me up. I want to be with my kids. I want to be with my wife. I want to like do my world. And I've got like 5 friends that I meet with regularly, and that's like my awesome life. But if you challenged me to sell 52 homes and you showed me that video of Jessica selling 52 homes with that simple system, I could do it. I know I could do it. So there's no question about it. So the question is, when you think about lead generation, have you done that? And maybe you never heard of that. Maybe you're new to the business. So I'm coming at you really hard, but I don't want any of you to slip into this completely nonsensical thing that this industry has taught us, where we're going to generate leads for you and sell them to you. And it's going to be great. And that's no judgment against anyone using Zillow or whatever, right? It's fine, but it's not going to give you the level of freedom that you're likely looking for if you're letting someone else be the marketer. And this is the sort of thing it is a 7-figure potential income pillar, at least multiple 6 figures for everyone, but not if you don't do it. Not if you don't like take the time to build the initial 100 in the database, and then you're adding 1 or 2 every day. So every week you're adding 5 to 7 contacts that you're taking through some sort of indoctrination process to add value so they get to know you. You're friending them on the social platforms, and you're just slowing everything down, and over time you're going to build an inner circle, people that actually know you. And you've got 100 people in that database that I'm like 80% certain that I can sell 50 homes from just these 100 people, because I've taken a meaningful, I'm actually interested in them and their life, and I'm adding massive value to them. And it's not how I built my business, right? So I didn't take that approach for the first 2 years in the business, but then we went big on database. But until you do that part, the only other thing I would add is for sale by owners. For sale by owners are really easy to find. We did an awesome training. I'm sure they're going to drop it here in a second if they haven't dropped it already. And I saw Mark chime in here. Mark came on here. He did a training for this community not too long ago that works. And it's really not cold calling. Like, I would do for sale by owners, build my database. I would do social media properly. I'd also probably do open houses. And the other side of it too, like if you're struggling with leads and you're paying for leads, do open houses. Commit to doing 52 open houses in the next 52 weeks. And I don't have any listings. Find an agent in your brokerage, in your market, that you build the open house system, and you show them like, you can trust me with your listing because this is my process. On Tuesday, I do this. On Wednesday, I do this. On Thursday, on Friday, I'm inviting the neighbors, like you have an actual system. So between database, social media, for sale by owners, and open houses, each of them can produce multiple transactions per month. And if you focus on one of them, you can definitely produce one or two of them, you could hedge your bets to get to 2 to 3 transactions per month. The last one was For Sale by Owners, FSBO Mastery by Mr. Mark Giosa. So Chris, you're so good. You just lay these, you just know that I'm going to just jump on what you said there, and I'll try to do it respectfully. So Chris says, and Chris does a lot of production. He's been in the business for a long time. What do you think of these companies that call as the ISA to introduce us to the sellers who are expireds or FSBOs that I don't want to call, people I don't know, in addition to my sphere, which allows me to sell 35 to 50 each year by itself? I don't meet a lot of agents. Here's the thing I will say about companies like that. Before you ever were to sign a company like that, I would talk to a minimum of 5 people that have been using that service for more than a year. Almost 100% of the time, all of these services, whatever it is, it's not in the agent's business for very long. So if it works so well, you would never stop doing it. So just give me the names of 5 clients who've been using your service for more than 12 months. We've only been in business for a month. We used to sell in another market, and now we're selling AI into the real estate space. Yes, sign me up for that. No past clients before, no case studies you can share with me. I'm going to be the one to make it work. That's how we think. It's like, it's kind of lunacy in a lot of ways. So Chris, if you're going to do so, I think you guys should do anything that works. I just wouldn't be the first one to prove that it works, or if they can't share with you like agents that have been using it forever, then I probably wouldn't do it. The more I'm convinced now, I got away from following Gary Vaynerchuk for a long time because he was just way too intense for me. But I got into him again, and he is probably the smartest marketer for local businesses ever. So if you can put up with he curses a lot. So you got to kind of get over that, but I would follow him on YouTube. He also does does anybody watch his, what does he call it? He goes and does garage sales. Does anybody watch those? It is like Gary V. Yeah, I forget what he calls it, but he did a whole series where he just drives around like town-wide garage sales, and he's got his whole team helping him, but he'll buy something for like a box of Matchbox for like $2, and then like each of them are worth like $2 on eBay, and he'll turn like a $2 investment into like $120. And he'll actually see people out at these garage sales that got the idea to do it from him. And one guy, he said, how's it been for you? Showed him his bank account. He said, I started when I had like $100 to my name, and I kept a separate account for this, and I have $28,000 in it now. Changed the guy's life, right? But they're literally going to garage sales, and they're putting all this effort in. And so like people that are willing to actually do the hard work are people that are going to be successful in anything. If you don't have a database right now, what else are you doing, every morning for the next 3 weeks between guard your first few hours, but like 12 to 1 p.m. for the next 21 days, or 3 times 5, Monday through Friday. Just put in your calendar, build database. And I dare you to do it. I dare you to sit down for an hour and start with a blank Google sheet, first name, last name, email address, cell phone number. I dare you to do it. And you'll come up with potentially hundreds of people that you can add to your database. And they're not going to send you a deal today, but if you have a touch system in place, over the course of the next 12 months, you will get 10 deals just from those 15 hours that I just challenged you to do, where you're just going to sit down, you're going to go through your phone, you're going to go through social media, you're going to go through your Gmail, and you're going to say, oh, I forgot Lucy from my teaching days. Like, I should reconnect with her. Lucy Wilson. I only have her cell. I don't have her email. Text her and say, hey, listen, Lucy, I'm going to start, I'm in real estate. I'm going to start putting out a monthly market update. Is it okay if I add you to it? Sure, Crystal, you can add me to it. Okay, great. What's your email address? Okay, that took some effort, right? But that's one person that you had a relationship with, and now you're committing to fostering that relationship and adding value over time. 10% of people in your core database that know you, like you, and trust you will turn into business. So Dave Hook took us through this and gave us like a 28-page guide exactly how to do this. It's his Database 60 touch system. And he has a paid version of it if you have the finances to be able to afford to let him do it, or a company that he's a half owner in, you could do that. But he gave you a version that's totally free. and he tells you exactly how to build a database from scratch and exactly how to jog your memory of who you're going to add to that database as well. I'm coming in hot today, so I hope it's not rubbing people the wrong way, but I'm just like, this is the time that's just going to eat agents alive. Like last year sucked for pretty much every agent. And this year is going to suck for most of those agents unless you do something different. Unless you sit still every morning and generate some new business, it's going to suck again. And you're going to go back to some crappy job, that you were doing before that you hated to get into real estate. And that's the reality of it. When I got into real estate and I was walking uphill in the snow both ways to get to the office, back like right before the great financial crisis, we went from 15,000 agents in my market to 5,000 agents. Now, none of the MLSs like to publish their stats, so I don't know what's going on with agent count now, but I would be surprised if we're not going through that cleansing right now. Jennifer Brown says, I've seen so many trainings on open houses and how to be the most successful. Do you have a preferred method? We did 2 awesome trainings on open houses. There isn't a training that we haven't done at this point. And we kind of recycle stuff, and there's always new stuff that comes up. And I want to cover mindset here in a second. We'll end with a conversation on mindset and positivity. And any of you that are really good at protecting your mindset and positivity and like tangible stuff that we can do for that, because I suffer with it too, I want you to get into the chat and add those things as we'll end with that conversation. Yeah, open houses, there was two really good systems. One was from Deirdre, if you guys can find it. It was the 250K GCI open house system. Jessica Buchanan did a training as well. Hers was how to turn every open house into 2 to 3 closings. And people said it was like the best open house training that they've ever seen. So those are 2. And I would pick one thing. Everyone has to do database. So everyone has to go through Dave Hook's training and build a database from scratch and add value to it. I believe everyone has to do something with their digital footprint, either Google business profile and get reviews, and use it strategically, use a platform strategically to post content about real estate and about your life and the good, bad, ugly. And then add one more thing. So you can generate 1 closing from the database a month. You can generate 1 closing from social or your Google business profile. And you can generate 1 closing from one other thing, either for sale by owners or open houses, or I would just do one of those 2 things. And then focus on those 3 things that you pick until they're consistently producing more than 1 transaction per month. And then you have the problem that we started this conversation with, how can I outsource the 80% of things that an agent does are administrative in nature? And you cannot make a ridiculous amount of money in a reasonable amount of time if you're going to hold on to all of the admin parts of it. So let's end the conversation. And this last conversation is going to be everyone chipping in. I want to have a conversation about mindset. I'll give my thoughts on it first, and then I guess I can put time management in there as well. Consistency. So time management, consistency, mindset, positivity. I will start with this. I'm even doing it more so now than I ever have done. I've got this cool app called TickTick, TickTick, where every day, I don't know if you guys can see this, but those are the categories that I review every day. So every day I go through my daily prayer. I go through my personal goals and habits. So I remind myself what I should be doing. And I don't know if you guys can see this, but you guys can take a snapshot of it. I don't even know if it's coming through. Like give 100% of myself, 100% of the time, treat Julie with abundant love and extreme care, because sometimes I don't. 15 minutes of Bible study, 15 minutes meditation, 15 minutes personal development. So I've just got some personal goals and habits. And then Real Estate B School has its own list of goals, pretty extensive, down to the project level. My rev share organization has some specifics around it. And then my financial goals for the year. And then most importantly, my vision for 2027. So I wrote a vision for 2027, and I read this every day. And so the reason I'm willing, and this is a tough week, I made a mishire in my coaching company, a sales guy, had to deal with that. Those are never easy conversations. Things aren't going quite smoothly in some things and whatever. My water heater sprung a leak yesterday. My dog bit the person that was watching the dog last weekend. And then she had to report the dog. So I'm like, oh man, they're going to come take my dog. So all this crap is going on. It's life. Everything happens. But this morning I read my goals and I'm like, the reason I'm doing this crap is because I have these very specific reasons, the way I see my life and the impact I'm going to have in my family and for others. And that will allow me to do whatever crap I need to do today. And so I work out because I want to be a super strong 60-year-old. And I'm 51 now. Because we're going to be super free financially and time, in 5, 7, 10 years. And I want to be physically fit to take advantage of the next 20 years, right? So is it hard for me to work out every night? I don't want to, but I still do it anyway. I just press the play button on Tonal and it gives me my workout. I do it and then I do my infrared sauna and it's the best hour of my day, right? But I'm doing it because I have a vision of the future. Or I think about my dad, the 5 years it took him to go from a severe stroke to physically die. I just think of that, how he didn't take care of himself and how I would have to see him every week. And I can get emotional thinking about it. And he's been dead for 10 years now. But I can think of that if I don't want to work out, or I can think of how awesome life's going to be with no kids and a lot of money and a lot of time. And so whatever that looks like for you, you've got to have a clear vision of it. And Jerry, I believe if you're clear enough on that, you can do anything. And then the consistency, I don't know, maybe you guys have for me, it's the same vision of the future. Sometimes you have to gamify it. I would highly recommend, if you don't have an accountability partner, if you have to make the number one determinant of success in real estate is meaningful conversations with decision-making adults about real estate on the daily. And if you don't have an accountability partner, someone who you've committed to no less than 20 meaningful conversations every day, and there's some sort of consequence, you probably need to start something like that. And just liken it to, you're not going to fire yourself, but like you wouldn't have a job at a normal sales company if you didn't work a day. Like think about it. If you were paid as a salesperson and you just decided to not work one day because I got caught up in my email or my kid or my whatever, or you literally wouldn't have a job. So there are people that have to physically go to a job, and it doesn't matter that their kid is sick. It doesn't matter that but if you're not where you want to be financially, then you've got to figure those things out so you can get focused for the amount of time you need to get focused. And that's not me being harsh. That's just the reality of your situation and where you want to be and where you are currently. And then I would say mindset and positivity. So I'll pick on all of us. I'll pick on me. So I got into a really bad. This was last year. So like the world's going to end in my mind because I'm caught up in this 24/7 news cycle. And this could be whatever it is for you. It could be an addiction to social media, or it could be whatever, right? We get in these rabbit holes and these echo chambers that consume us mentally. It's nearly impossible to go out and slay the dragons in real estate if you're worried about the other side taking office and literally the world's going to end, or whatever that looks like for you, whatever that thing is for you. Or it's nearly impossible to, slay the real estate dragons and kick ass in real estate if you're scrolling on social media for 2 hours a day. I had a conversation with a guy that had just drained his children's college accounts, drained them to fund his business. And I said, let's open up, iPhone user, open up your, how you have your stats on your phone, you can see how many hours a day you use certain apps. And I said, read to me the number one app, and it was Instagram. And I said, you're doing a ton of business from Instagram. Like, are you in DMs all day long talking to buyers and sellers? And he's like, no. It's like, I don't do any business from social media. And he was on Instagram for 3 hours a day. 3 hours a day. And he just took $40,000 out of his girls. And her girls were young. So kudos to him for building up 40 grand. And they were both under 5 years old. But he just had to take that money from them because he's addicted to Instagram. And all of those they're going to put in front of you the thing that's going to keep you. In his case, it was like hot girls. And he admitted that to me. He's like, I'm just like in this rabbit hole, and it's like, it's ruining me. So whatever that thing is for you, because I suffer from, mine is YouTube. Like, I'm just watching way too much YouTube crypto. Like, I'm like everything is going to, like, the price of Bitcoin. That's like my, like, you guys would laugh. Whatever it is for you, I won't judge yours. That's mine. And it's ridiculous. Trump launches a meme coin and Bitcoin price goes down. Who cares, right? But so I have the same issues that you guys have that derail me. So just identify what those things are for you, and you have to find a way to just eliminate them. For a lot of people, it's just social media. And if you're generating zero business from social media, there's no reason you should be on social media. You should use social media strategically to put out content, but you're in and out and you use it just like you would your real estate CRM. It's like you're lethal on that platform. You go in, check any DMs related to the house market update you just put in. If nobody either liked it or commented on it, if they like it, you're messaging them. If they commented on it, you're messaging them, and then you close it down. You don't scroll and see how awesome everyone else is. You just shut it down. Use it as a business tool. Same thing. Are you watching any news, right? Are you in or caught in the news cycle? All right, I want you guys to get in here. Give me your time management, consistency, mindset, and positivity hacks or tips. And then you can unmute yourself if you have really something good to add. The cool thing about TickTick is that it's a to-do list app, but it's a habit tracker. So I'm big on habits. It also has this cool Dwight Eisenhower matrix, the urgent and important. So you can put tasks into different quadrants really simply. It integrates your calendar. And I use my content ideas I just throw in there. And all of my goals and vision are in there as well. I was losing hope in many lost days on social media, mostly YouTube. Yeah, here's how I know that Julie's caught in some echo chambers that I'm not in. And she was convinced that the world was ending yesterday. No joking. Some of you know Julie. She's like the sweetest person in the world. But she was convinced that every major city was going to blow up and, Trump was going to be assassinated. I'm like, okay, how can I help that? There's nothing I can do, literally nothing I can do. So it's not even going to entertain a thought. And she was flying back from Chicago for my son's, and that was one of the cities on the list, the prophetic, and she'll kill me if she knew I was telling you guys this. But none of it happened. And we all have stuff that is going on in our head that never happens, or where we're consuming too much of a thing that we have no control over. I do it too. So just make sure whatever that thing is for you, you have to eliminate it. Yeah, so Jacoby, share more. You get the final word here, last 2 minutes. So what do you do when you get off course?
I just try to get a quick win. So a lot of times for me, I do a lot of prospecting and calling, leads that have reached out and all that. So if I get off course, then I'm like, I got to make an appointment today. And then I just have a goal, I will not stop today until I actually set an appointment.
Yeah. Awesome.
And then probably the other thing is planning for the next day, the night before. So a lot of times if I don't get prepared for the day before, I get I watch YouTube at night. If I do that and then just wake up in the morning, I'm just not prepared and set up for the next day.
Yeah, it's all the evils are on the phone. And to Jacoby's point, I was at KW for 4 years. I've only taken Bold. We all did it as a team, and we all committed to Bold 100. Does everyone know what Bold 100 is? Yeah, you have to have 100 meaningful conversations in a single day. So some of you, and how could that possibly be? We literally went to a Carolina Panthers game on a Sunday, and we just went tailgate to tailgate. Do you think some of the drunk people treated us like crap? 100%. But I think I generated 3 deals in 3 hours. So there's no, if you have no business, no appointments, you have to figure out how are you going to have 100 conversations in a day? Could be calling FSBOs. It could be, I'm going to hold an open house, and I'm going to let every neighbor know about the open house. So it's not technically a cold call, but you're going to have as many conversations as possible around that open house. So yeah, that's really, really good. Get the wins. Realize that you can do more than you think you can. There's a book. It's called Do the Work by Stephen Pressfield. It's a really short book, and it's on Audible. It's only 2 hours on Audible, but it calls out all of this stuff. He calls it the resistance in the book, and the resistance is whatever. It's YouTube, it's news, it's Rumble, it's porn, it's whatever the resistance is for you, the thing that takes you off of the thing you should be doing and gets you off of the vision you have for your life and your business. Highly recommended. It's really, really good. And he doesn't pull a punch. It's brutally in your face. And then Maha, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but I think that was said, she said it the right way. I have 2 challenges for you. 1 hour a day, 5 days a week, for the next 3 weeks to just build your database. Grab that Dave Hook link, print out the PDF that's in there, and just build your database with a Google Sheet. That's the one challenge. The other challenge is a 30-day challenge to use the 5-minute journal. I think there's a free version. I had a paid version. I always think the paid version is better, but I think there's a free version. You don't even need it because it's every morning, just write down in your journal 3 things you're grateful for in every morning. And then at the end of the day, 3 amazing things that happened that day. Do those 3 things technically. Hour time block to build a database, 3 things you're grateful for, and 3 amazing things every day. And come back in 30 days and tell me that your life isn't like markedly better. It will pivot mostly around just the gratitude and looking for the amazing things. And some days are going to suck and you still have to find the 3 amazing things. And it'll force you just to have a different psychology about your life. It could be radically different. Tony Robbins has this saying, he owns this like super glamorous resort in Fiji, where he's like, man, the Fijian people, they have like dirt. They have nothing, but they're always happy. And I asked him, why are you so happy? It's like, it's raining today. And it's like, it's sunny today. And they don't have anything. And they're just happy. And they've just learned to be like content with where they are and what they have, and just to appreciate the fact that the sun is up today, or I got to walk on the beach today, and I'm not saying don't have goals, but we do have to appreciate. And I'm the worst at enjoying the ride. I am very far in the future. I'm always driving and striving, and I've learned how to deal with it and temper it. But you've got to figure out ways to enjoy the ride, and that's just a simple way to do it. All right, love you guys. I'm going to pray us out. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this time today. Hopefully some of this landed as it was intended with love, but sometimes all of us, including me, we need kind of a kick in the head, just to remember that we do have people counting on us, and we can have a massive impact if we just on the regular just do the things that will bring us closer to meaningful goals in the areas of life that actually matter: our family, our faith, and our community. Just be with us this week as we go out and we fight the good fight in real estate. It is not easy. I understand that. But just give us the strength for it. It's in your son Jesus' name we pray. Amen. We'll see you guys next week. Be good. Bye-bye.